Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. Hope you guys are waking up and feeling fantastic out there this morning. Having a great start to your Sunday. A great weekend out there so far. I know a lot of people in the South are certainly excited about this winter storm on the way. And that is what we're here to do. Give you updated information on that. Talk about all the overnight and morning model guidance and break down some graphics for you folks. Zoom into some areas and see how much snow or even ice, unfortunately, that some of you folks we'll see. And then we'll give an update on today's forecast for everybody else. But we're going to do this video just a little bit different than we typically do in the morning videos. And we're going to just go right into the updated information for this winter storm. And then we'll have separate segments for other areas of the country. And of course, I'll have everything time stamped out pretty well for you folks to take advantage of. At the very end of the video, we will discuss towards the end of this work week another threat for winter weather. And some areas could see winter weather again. And I'm talking about Tennessee, maybe Kentucky, maybe Arkansas. So, the rich keep getting richer in this setup. And that's just the way it is sometimes. So I know I'm happy for you folks that's going to see snow. There's definitely areas that have not been very lucky over the last few years that are going to get it. And I'll mention those areas, but yeah, we're going to break it down for you folks and continue to pump out the information. Quickly want to say, folks, I am so behind on comments. I woke up almost a little bit overwhelmed about it. There's a lot of prayer requests that I'm sure I've missed. I know a lot of other people have read it, which is very important because we all look out for one another. We all pray for one another, but I'm just kind of bummed I haven't been able to really stop and look at all the comments. For you folks that do not know, and first-time viewers or subscribers, I do have a family. I have 2 little girls. I have an amazing wife. So, of course, I can't devote every hour and minute to my YouTube channel. I work a full-time job. So it's hard to stop and really just read every single comment and spend time on every single one. Or that would take, when it's this busy, that would literally take 2 or 3 hours out my day. And it's very difficult on the weekends. So I hope you guys understand, and I know probably 95% of you do, but I do want to mention that. I'll try to get caught up with them at some point when things really just slow down, to be honest with you. So if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. I want to say a special thanks to Barry Black last night. You donated to the channel, and I really appreciate it, and I always want to give a special shout out to these people that do that. So thank you very much for donating to the channel. It means the world. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So, the country looks relatively quiet out there. You still got the lake effect snow. You had ongoing thunder snow in Buffalo last night. It's very cold in the middle of the country. We got lake effect snow pretty much popping off all the Great Lakes. Superior, Huron, Michigan, Erie, Ontario. Lake effect snow streamers going on. Some are very intense this morning. We got some moisture down here in Florida. And then you see this blue coming up on your map right here in the middle of your screen. That is the beginning stages of our winter weather. Now, I was seeing a report around Little Rock where there was some light freezing rain ongoing, some icing, and, we're probably going to get more and more reports of that as we get later into the morning. By the time some of you folks may watch this video, I'm sure it'll already be some freezing drizzle, light freezing rain, even some snow in some of these areas. So, quick reminder, I am doing this video at about 7 a.m. Eastern time. So, of course, it'll be on later into the day by the time some of you folks watch this. But the information won't change a whole lot. A little bit of energy out west still, but not a whole lot. So we'll go over kind of the typical stuff we do. Storm Prediction Center, no real threat of severe weather at all today. Not even really a threat of thunderstorms, really. So not a whole lot to speak on there. Flash flooding, not a risk at all. So we're good there. And, I was waiting for this graphic to update, and it has not. So we're not going to be able to look at this, so we're going to have to do this on the fly here. Pivotal weather is lagging. So we do have winter storm warnings for every single county in Tennessee now. Several counties in northern Alabama, pretty much the northern, like 1/3 of Mississippi, the entire Mississippi Delta region. Every single county in Arkansas has a winter storm warning except one. That's the far northwest county. Shreveport, winter storm warning. Several counties. I'm sorry, you don't have counties in Louisiana. I always forget that. Several areas in northern Louisiana, and then northeast Texas has winter storm warning. 2 counties with winter storm warnings in the pink, and Oklahoma. And then you have the winter weather advisories around all of this. So there's certainly a lot going on in the south, and yeah, a lot of cold air behind us. And if you look at all this right in here, these are, I think, wind chill warnings. Let's look at this on the fly here. Yeah, wind chill warnings. So everybody in this shade right here, this weird kind of almost silver color, that is wind chill warnings ongoing with the frigid temperatures. You know, I was watching a little bit of the Kansas City game last night, and it's just unreal playing in 4 below temperatures. So it's just wild. You know, and everybody's like has no sleeves on or anything like that. I guess they're just, you know, trying to act tough or anything. Man, the heck with that. I'll be wearing sleeves, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, enough with that. But let's give you some updated information on what's going to happen with this winter storm for today. So we'll start this off by starting this this morning. And, you know, you got a little bit of light snow. Not sure what's actually falling right now in like Oklahoma. Of course, you look back on the radar. It shows some snow starting to develop. Not sure what all is hitting the ground. You guys would have to let me know out there. Actually give me some live reports. But if we keep this going, the thing that we'll watch is as we get to about midday, and if you're confused about the time frame at all in this video, check out up here. This is around lunchtime, 1 p.m. So this is 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're in Central time out here. So this is around lunchtime today. We have some light snow beginning to develop, you know, and I could see freezing drizzle down here, even though it's not showing up down here. Maybe some snow a little bit further into Arkansas that this isn't showing. But this is what the GFS is showing right now. And I'm going off the global models because I don't know if the ARRR model has the best handle on this. I think that the precipitation is not going to be as cut off as what the ARRR model is saying. So I'm going to roll with the global models here. Could be wrong. I matched up what the GFS was saying snowfall-wise with what the National Weather Service is saying, and it almost matched up to the T, identical. So I'm going to go with the GFS. We keep this going. We get into this afternoon. Moderate to heavy area of snow begins to develop around Tulsa into the Fayetteville region, getting almost all the way into Springfield, Missouri. We keep this going. We go all the way to about Sunday evening at this point. This is kind of the first wave. There's more moisture that will develop down here as we get a little bit deeper into tonight. But you got light snow in the blue. You got some more moderate snow. The intensity of this is going to be up in the air. But in general, we just got this area of snow right here. Now, it's probably going to be light to moderate, not very heavy at this point. And then as we're starting to get later into this evening, this will move into Tennessee. We'll talk more about Tennessee and points east here in a second. And then as we get into tonight, this is around midnight tonight, I think we start to get more moisture bubbling up out here in Texas. And I could definitely see freezing rain falling further west than what this is showing. A lot of cold air locked deep into Texas. We start to get a wintry mix in Shreveport. Snow's beginning to fall in Little Rock for sure, still falling in Memphis. And then we take it all the way to Monday morning, and you see this pink down here deep into Texas, all the way to Austin, San Antonio, maybe all the way back to San Angelo. We'll see what happens there. But you got freezing rain falling south of Shreveport. This looks like kind of a wintry mix of maybe of everything in Shreveport. We'll see how this evolves. Snow from Little Rock Point south. We keep this going, and then we get into about early to mid-morning Monday. Starts to develop heavier snow. You see the darker blues. And folks, I want to remind you guys, it is very cold in these areas. Very, very cold. So you get moderate snow with temperatures in the teens. I mean, it's rapid accumulation. Roads, grass, everything. The only area that it might not accumulate much on because it's a very dry, powdery snow is the trees. I mean, you'll see some snow on the trees and the power line. So it's not like you got this wet, clumpy, like cotton ball-like snow that's just sticking on everything like paste. This is very powdery snow. So I don't think you're going to have issues with power outages unless you get a lot of freezing rain, maybe somewhere down into here. But this snow up here is going to be a real powdery snow. But you keep going to get about midday Monday. Look at this snow. Look at this band setting up just south of Memphis, right on top of Little Rock Point south. A heavy snow. I think northern Mississippi is going to be one of the jackpot areas. I'll talk about another one here in a second. But a wintry mix, all-out wintry mix, solid going on in northeast Texas where you have winter storm warnings. I mean, it's still ongoing in Dallas-Fort Worth area. Just winter weather advisories there. Shreveport, winter storm warnings, wintry mix of everything well below freezing. And you take it all the way to about Monday afternoon, still snowing very heavily. There's going to be a corridor right into here that's really going to get it, that extends eastward. And we'll talk about that here in a second. And you keep this going, and even as you get into Monday evening, I still think there could be some ongoing freezing drizzle back here in central. You got to be careful. I like to call them Texas, Florida, and Florida, Texas sometimes, and Tennessee also. I have no idea why. That's the way it just kind of rolls off the tongue. But anyways, it looks like most of the heavy wintry precipitation begins to move out of Texas at this point. And you keep on going. You're getting some icing. Still deeper down the Louisiana as some cold air begins to sag at the surface all the way down almost to the Gulf coastline. Lake Charles beginning to get some freezing rain late tomorrow night. You're getting just a mix of maybe freezing rain and sleet all the way down into Jackson, Mississippi. Still snowing in northern Mississippi, where you could get several inches. You take it all the way to about, let's see, this is about Tuesday morning. You got freezing rain all the way literally down to the Gulf coastline, Louisiana. Getting all the way into Baton Rouge, you got freezing drizzle falling, freezing rain all the way down to Hattiesburg. Just south of, it'll probably be ongoing in like Meridian too. And then it finally heads on out, and we could even get some freezing rain as far south as Mobile, Alabama. So that's the way it could unfold. We'll kind of roll through that really fast again one more time for you. First push this afternoon right here, and I think this is going to add accumulations 1 to 2 inches probably. It kind of dwindles out, and then you get another push that gets going right there, and then it heads on out. So let's go and talk about snowfall accumulations. A broad look at this for you folks. As you can tell, Arkansas in this frame is definitely the heavy hitting area. Northern Mississippi, western Tennessee, and we'll talk more about those areas here in a second. But Oklahoma, not a huge event, but Arctic air mixed with a few inches of snow is going to cause issues on the roads for sure. Southern sections of Missouri will start to get it later this morning into this afternoon. A period of very light snow will probably add up to a couple inches of snow. Springfield, 1 to 2 inches of snow. But you look at the ice with this too, and these are the icing concerns down here. And I would say the heaviest area of ice is going to be around Shreveport, into the border into Texas, into southern and southwest Arkansas, where someone could get a 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice in this region. Someone might squeeze in a 1/4 inch of ice, but for now, we're not thinking that much ice will fall into this region. So let's go on and just zoom into some of these areas. Texas, snowfall-wise, I would say that, a 1/2 inch to 1 inch at most in extreme northeast Texas right over here. Freezing rain, solid, a few 1/100ths of an inch of ice. All the way into Austin. I think I'll just put a light glaze on stuff. I don't think it's going to be a big deal at all. Once you work your way east and northeast into Texas, into this area, that's when you start to get a solid glaze of ice mixed with a little bit of snow, a little bit of sleet, and that is definitely enough to prompt winter storm warnings, especially when you have temperatures well below freezing in these areas, deep into the 20s and things like that. They don't have a lot of updated graphics in Texas. That's why I don't have the graphics pulled up like last night's video, but I did want to zoom into each state. You take a look at Oklahoma, looking like Oklahoma City might get a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Tulsa, 1 to 2 inches of snow. Fort Smith, 2.5 inches. It looks like Fayetteville, 2.5 inches of snow. Springfield, 1 to 2. So I'm not expecting much ice up here, so I'm not going to pull up an ice graphic. But you get into, southern Kansas, a dusting of snow to maybe 1 inch. Somebody might squeeze in 2 inches of snow in the far western sections of the state, and then the far eastern sections of the state. Now, you look at, let's see how we got this pulled up. We look at Arkansas. All right, I'm going to have another graphic for you folks in Arkansas here in a second, but this is what it's looking like kind of at a broad take. But we zoom in to this area, and they updated a graphic around 5:30 this morning Central Time. So they're going for 4 to 5 inches of snow in Little Rock. I want to be completely honest with you folks in Little Rock. I would go on the lower end. And let's hope I'm wrong if you're a snow fan, but I would go on the lower end just to not get super, I guess, your hopes sky high. If you see some people, when they see 4 to 5 inches of snow, they got to get 4 to 5 inches of snow, or, they're going to start, throwing disses at the local meteorologist. That's just how some people are. I get it, I guess. But they're going for 4 to 5 inches of snow right now in Little Rock. Pine Bluff, 4 to 5 inches of snow. But everybody else, Harrison 2 to 3, Russellville 2 to 3, Fayetteville 2 to 3, Fort Smith 2 to 3 inches, El Dorado 1 to 2 inches, probably with a little bit more ice mixed in. But I do have this area right here circled, a small band of higher amounts as possible in the dashed area. All right, so and I like this area to see someone's going to get over 6 inches of snow, probably in this area right here. So we'll see what happens with that. But moving forward here, we look at Louisiana. A closer look. I think the northern areas of Louisiana could get a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snow. Not a whole lot, but I definitely think a little bit of snow is possible up here, and a little bit of sleet too. Just maybe a dusting of sleet. Freezing rain. Shreveport, 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice, and that's enough to be a concern because This freezing rain will be falling well below freezing. I always say this, and this is my take on freezing rain. If you got freezing rain falling about 32, 30, even 31, even 30 degrees, I don't think the roads are going to be a huge issue. I just don't, unless temperatures are like dropping after the event. Once you start to get below 32, once you start to get below 30 degrees into like the upper 20s, to me, that's when any kind of liquid falling from the sky, whether it's just some mist, light freezing drizzle, an all-out moderate freezing rain, once you start to get into the 20s, that's when roads literally turn slick. And what really sets the tone with this is if you get like a thin coating of sleet or snow in this area, and then you get freezing rain or vice versa, that actually helps for that freezing rain to accumulate on the road. So I think we're going to have major, road concerns in this area with the ice, a little bit of sleet, just a little bit of snow in this region, and that's certainly why you're going to get winter storm warnings. Not a huge event where you get several inches of snow, quarter, half inch of ice, 1 to 2 inches of sleet, but I mean, that's pretty rare for this area, but this is going to be enough to cause major issues, that's for sure. Let's move into the southeast. Let's break it down. Starting off this morning, a little bit of snow flying around the western side of the Appalachian Mountains. This will move in, add some light snowfall accumulations in West Virginia with that Arctic front. We get into this afternoon, there comes that snow. Light snow begins to develop in western Tennessee, western Kentucky, even southern Illinois, northern Mississippi. Memphis, Dyersburg, it starts to get into Nashville probably later this evening. So if you got anything to do, get it done in Tennessee like right now into this afternoon because, the Arctic area settled in. Anything that falls, it's going to be a situation, especially in western Tennessee, western Kentucky, even northern Mississippi, where I think that your roads get slick first. All right, your roads get covered with snow first. When you get winter weather that really falls and temperatures are well below freezing, I think the best example of this for the South is late January 2014 in Atlanta. I think Atlanta got 1 to 2 inches of snow off that event, and everybody and their brother was wondering from the north, why is Atlanta shut down and gridlocked because of this? Well, people don't realize that snow fell at temperatures in the low 20s. And it was a mixture between that and I think them just not being prepared because that system ended up shifting north at the last second. But it was gridlock in Atlanta. If you look at pictures, type in Google, late January 2014, Atlanta gridlock or whatever. If you look at pictures on the grass, it doesn't look like much snow, but on the roads, they're just sheets of ice. And that's because it was snowing in like temperatures in the low 20s. Well below freezing. That's how it's going to be in these areas. So you get just light snow, roads are going to get just awful immediately. Figure out what you got to do this morning, do it, and then get off the roads and just enjoy the snow. To get the fireplace, roll in, just enjoy it, hot chocolate. Man, I'm jealous of y'all. I am. Not in a bad, evil kind of way, but just me here in South Carolina, not going to get a flake of anything. I wish I could get an inch of snow, that's for sure. But you keep this going, you're getting into tonight, about middle of the night tonight. Light snow, not a whole lot falling. If at any point this evening, tonight, into tomorrow morning, the snow stops and you're thinking, well, that's it. It's not it, okay? One thing I want you to notice is look at this snow back into Virginia. Light snow falling. And you take it all the way to about Monday morning, tomorrow morning. Just a thin layer of light snow flying around. This is accumulating on everything. Remember that. Snow in northern North Carolina, snow around D.C. tomorrow morning, light snow. You keep going, this is when it intensifies. Midday tomorrow. I mean, you're getting just a steady light band of snow. North of Charlotte, southern Virginia. I mean, this could certainly put a dusting of snow on the ground. It really could. And you're starting to see these dark blues kind of around Memphis Point South into northern Mississippi, riding that Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia line. Chattanooga getting some snow. Cumberland Plateau. Huntsville, Florence, Alabama. Florence, Alabama. And then look at my folks in eastern Tennessee. I think this is going to be a favored area right into here in eastern Tennessee. I'm talking about the valleys, the Cumberland Plateau, the mountains of Tennessee. I think that this is your event. I'm not talking about 8 to 12 inches of snow, but I could see someone getting, 6, 7 inches of snow from this. And it's like a favorable kind of push up against the western side of the mountains here. And I want you to look at this too. There's a lot going on here. You still got snow falling in Arkansas. We don't talk about Arkansas no more. Heavy snow, well below freezing going on in northern Mississippi. Same thing, northern Alabama. And look at this stripe of moderate snow into southern sections of Virginia, northern sections of North Carolina. Something we got to watch. I think we'll get some winter weather advisories issued in this area. a little bit later. Do we already have winter weather advisories issued in that area? I don't think so. But let's see. No, we do not. So I think we'll get some probably later this evening in this area. But look at that heavy snow falling in eastern North Carolina, folks. I'm sorry, eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina in the mountains. And you keep this going. If the GFS is correct, this would be a decent snowfall for Virginia and northern North Carolina. Richmond. All right, and you keep this going, and moderate snow still falling overnight, Monday night into Tuesday morning. And look at this. This is some moderate snow beginning to take over western areas of extreme southwest of Virginia, which has winter storm warnings. West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, which I haven't mentioned much, but eastern Kentucky, I think especially southeastern Kentucky, some areas just have winter weather advisories, but I think you could get some winter storm warnings. And, then you take it all the way to, Tuesday morning. Look at this freezing rain all the way down like south of Birmingham. And then look at D.C. doing its thing. Has not seen much of anything lately. Last winter and a half. All right, maybe last couple winters. I'm not even sure anymore. You guys have not gotten much in a while. But this would be a solid 1 to 3 inches of D.C. if this is the way it plays out up here. We'll take a closer look at you guys here in a second. So, and then we'll just kind of watch, what this low is going to do as it tries to develop. But, latest model guidance says it's a no-go on that. But look at this stripe of several inches of snow through the heart of Tennessee, northern sections of Alabama. Northern Mississippi is going to be a jackpot region up the spine of the Appalachian Mountains, especially the west side. West Virginia, for my guy, I got a couple people in the lower elevations of West Virginia that really hasn't got much. This isn't some huge event, but it's going to be a nice event for you folks. And look, they're already calling for an inch and a half in D.C. We'll zoom into these areas here in a second. But a closer look at the deep south. Look at that. That's nice. That's a nice snowfall. Birmingham, Meridian, Jackson, this really isn't going to be your event. Now, you start to get into Jackson, you're probably getting some icing, maybe some back-end snow. But we do need to watch model guidance over the next 24 hours for areas of Alabama. Could get a kind of a third push of moisture that could cause issues for like Birmingham. Chattanooga, as of right now, just 1 to 2 inches of snow. But we'll take a look at another graphic for eastern Tennessee that shows more. And this is just kind of a broad look at the National Weather Service. But you look at Tennessee, just that swath of accumulating snow. So a closer look at Tennessee here. And I know this is kind of blurry. It's going to be kind of blurry on the screen. I get it. I couldn't make it any clearer. In time, we'll tweak this stuff, and we'll be able to make it look a little bit more clear for you folks. But 3 to 4 inches of snow in Nashville is what they're calling for. This is this is the update from overnight. 4 to 6 inches of snow in Columbia, Tennessee. Wayne's. I wish that was Columbia, South Carolina. No offense to you folks in Tennessee. But 4 to 6 inches of snow in Waynesboro and Clarksville. 2 to 3 inches of snow. Jamestown, 4 to 6. So Crossville, 4 to 6. So chances of 3 inches of snow or more, 60 to 70% chance in Nashville. Chances of 5 inches or more. I mean, you got a 50-50 shot in Columbia. So, yeah, guys. It's coming. And you look at the southern apps. I mean, this is a pretty nice event for southern Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky. And I think more snow than this could fall. But a solid 2 to 3 inch snowfall, you get into western Virginia. This is kind of an area that did not get much from the last couple storms that moved through. But, I mean, a good 3 to 7 inch event. This is really starting to increase now. The Smokies, a solid hit from this. And then look at my folks in eastern Tennessee. You're finally going to reel it in. And we'll take a closer look at this, but look at West Virginia. This is a solid hit for you guys. Several inches of snow, especially in those favored higher elevations. But this is what the area that I'm most excited to show, and it's only because there's a lot of areas in the valley regions of Tennessee that just kind of always gets gypped, especially the southern valleys, Cleveland, Chattanooga. You guys just always seem to just not cash in. I think it's been 4 or 5 years since a decent event for you folks. But Chattanooga, they're going for, this is the latest graphic, about 3:30 this morning, so just a few hours ago, 2 to 3 inches of snow. Cleveland, 2 to 3 inches of snow. I know of quite a few people in this area from social media. And then my buddy Zach, Johnson City, 3 to 4 inches of snow. Mountain City, 4 to 6. Some of these areas could increase. 4 to 6 in Kingsport, 4 to 6 in Morristown, 4 to 6 in Knoxville. Big event moving in. This is kind of one of those secondary jackpot regions. Part of me wants to drive up into this area and check out the snow. Probably won't. But I want you to look at the HRRR model. All right, this is for 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, right? And, in fact, I want to go a little bit further. This is for, let's keep it around here, about 6, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, right? Stripe of snow, right? You would think, all right, you got some temperature issues down here. That's why, it's freezing rain. No, this is just a warm nose aloft. And one thing I've not kind of done this system, and I hate that I just haven't found time to do it, was explain why you can be like in the mid-20s but still be getting freezing rain. And I'll take some time in another system and break that down. I just never had time this system. And it'll blow your mind why you get certain wintry precipitation types regardless of what the temperature is at the surface. But this is, 7, 8 a.m. tomorrow. You got the stripe of snow in northern Mississippi, northern Alabama into Tennessee, right? So you're thinking temperatures, 31, 32 degrees. You're barely probably cold enough for snow. It's your typical winter storm in the south. Absolutely not, folks. These are temperatures when the snow's falling. Unreal. It's snowing at 18, 19 degrees in Memphis. Snowing in the low to mid-20s in northern Mississippi. Snowing like at 20 degrees in Nashville. This is not your typical event. It is not. It's going to be a dry snow. So, for my folks in the eastern U.S., this is an interesting area. Okay? You move into Virginia. I mean, I think, first, you're going to probably, and no, this is the European. I want to look at the GFS with this. Okay? This is the GFS. First off, some light snow is possible tomorrow morning in this area. Okay? And then look at this moderate snow in Virginia. This is like tomorrow evening. This is going to be wild. I want to see if this unfolds the way it's showing, because this would deliver accumulating snow in Virginia because there's cold air in place. And then, look, the GFS is trying to go back to that scenario where you got, a coastal load. You're thinking we're about to get a big system. This is around early Tuesday morning. Look at this moderate snow falling in very cold temperatures across the mid-Atlantic. The Delmarva region, folks. I mean, Maryland, West Virginia still. Look at the snow starting to creep into Delaware, southern New Jersey. And then we end up Tuesday morning getting a nice light, moderate snowfall across the Northeast. But you got to think, none of this is going to have temperature issues. This is going to be falling at very cold temperatures. So I think this is going to be kind of a light snowfall event. I think maybe depending on what these models do over the next day or two, I think that this could trend to something more significant. And then this heads on out and we're done. And then you look at the latest European model for this region. And see, I don't know. Latest European model? Man, look at this. First off, look at North Carolina. This is just coming in, right? This is the latest updated model guidance. And I can tell you, folks, it's Little Rock to Memphis is flirting with not getting as much snow. I can tell you by looking at this. That's something we're going to have to watch. And, I was hesitant, and that's why I told you Little Rock, I would aim towards the lower totals. Even kind of the Memphis region, where they're calling for like 4 to 6 inches of snow right now. But anyways, we're in a different panel right now. But the snow moving into northern North Carolina. Look at Monday evening, folks. I mean, it's snowing pretty good in Mount Airy, all the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee, Virginia. And then you get this band of snow on the European. And the European does not show the scenario for Monday morning, really. It shows a little bit of light snow, but not nearly as intense as the GFS. But, man, it really gets it in here. Monday night and a Tuesday morning, and then check it out. It delivers a nice moderate band of snow for New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, into southern New England. And then it really tries to crank up at the last second, and then it heads on out. So, but this interests me right into here. If you keep pushing trends like this into like areas outside the mountains in North Carolina, Virginia, you're going to start to get some winter weather alerts issued today. So. But we look at snowfall, and we look at it in the blend of all models, which I think is a really good thing to show here. This is in 12-hour increments here. We kind of keep this going, and look, I mean, it starts to bring the shot of accumulating snow Monday to tomorrow into Virginia. Scattered inch and a half snowfall totals. And I think we're going to get a solid dusting to an inch somewhere throughout Virginia. I think Richmond could see it. I think Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads, I think it's going to be close, but I think that it's going to stay mainly north of you folks. But, and then we start to get in the Delmarva. I think you got a solid chance of, 1 inch, inch and a half. I think D.C. could get an inch of snow from this. And then you see the signal as we start to get into the Northeast. New York City, an inch, inch and a half from this. Just scattered 1 to 2 inch snowfall totals is basically what we're seeing. Okay, and then you move a little bit on up the road, and there it is. There's a solid signal for about 1 to 2 inches of snow, maybe a little bit more up in the Maine as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Not a huge event, but we got to watch the trends with this. Could trend to more. So That's an update on the winter storm. Let's talk about what's going to happen today for the Northeast and then this lake effect snow event. All right, lake effect snow will continue to go off Erie and Ontario. It'll be quite intense. At the same time, we're going to watch the snow squall that moves through Pennsylvania, maybe as far south as the mid-Atlantic. This is around 10, 11 a.m. today. You got to watch this line of snow right here with this Arctic front that moves in, moving through eastern PA, and then it can make it all the way to New York City. It looks like the latest model guidance, though, has kind of chopped it off to the south, but I think this is going to be pretty intense. I think they're just going to have intense snow squalls throughout interior New England and southern New England throughout the day today. We get into 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Look at this intense snow squall making its way through the entire southern New England and all of New England. This is going to drop maybe a quick 1 to 2 inches of snow depending on where you are. And then the lake effect snow just continues as we're getting into tonight. The bands kind of get thin, but it just continues up here, and they're probably going to continue to pivot, and we're starting to get all the way into Monday. At this point, we start to see the system from the south move in. But snowfall between now and Monday evening, additional foot, maybe 1.5 feet in Buffalo. Same thing up here in like the Tug Hill Plateau, Watertown. So you're just going to continue to get hit hard with heavy snow. These bands will kind of just pivot back and forth like they always do. But another 1.5 feet, Tug Hill Plateau, getting into the western sections of the Adirondacks, several inches of snow. And then all this down here is from basically what happens with this these snow squalls today. You get 1 to 2 inches of snow in the Poconos, the Catskills, dusting of snow throughout all of Pennsylvania at minimum. Into southern New England, could get a dusting of snow from this band. The north central U.S. are just really the only area to watch here is the Great Lakes region, where you'll continue to just get these bands moving in northwest to southeast off Lake Michigan into the UP, and then off Lake Superior, then off Lake Michigan, Huron, and southern Ontario. And we'll continue to see this throughout the day. Snowfall totals between now and Monday morning. Some of this has already failed, but several more inches of snow expected in these favored areas right into here. Another few inches of snow, several inches of snow possible in Grand Rapids and those regions right into here. So out west, it's a much quieter day. Really is. Just got some heavier bursts of snow moving through Nevada, Utah throughout the morning into Colorado. I think it'll let up. We'll get some light snow throughout Wyoming today. But I think for the most part, today is a much quieter day out west. That's for sure. Yeah, so if you got any viewers from, Oregon, the Valley regions, definitely let me know what you saw with the system that moved through. But high temperatures, just brutal in the upper portion of the country. Well below zero for highs. Even some of the big cities, you're not going to get above zero today. Not above freezing, above zero. Southeast is about the only region that is feeling average January temperatures. You guys just are not going to see the brunt of this Arctic air mass. But look at Texas. Holy smokes. Sub-freezing temperatures down to Texas. Just brutally cold for this time of the year down here. Really any time of the year. This is the coldest time of the year. So I wouldn't even say this time of the year. Just very cold temperatures. Very cold temperatures in this region. Then out west, you're still hanging on those cold temperatures, really on the east side of the Rockies especially. But going to still be another cold day in Washington. You're not going to get above freezing in Seattle. The only area of the country that's really just okay is the Southwest, and you're kind of avoiding this Arctic air mass for sure. Folks, as we get later into this work week, another winter storm threat moves in. All right, and here it comes. The latest GFS shows snow breaking out across the Midwest, southern Midwest, kind of the Ohio Valley. The models are going to flip back and forth with this, and look, it brings another winter weather event into Arkansas Thursday and to Friday across Tennessee. It's bringing another wintry mix across northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, Tennessee, into Kentucky. What is it going to do for the Carolinas? Well, the Arctic air does not get here in time. But the latest GFS does get the cold air in here into Charlotte. You almost get something. It does show a little bit of snow, even close to Atlanta down here. We're getting into Friday morning. Show some snow all the way into the PD of South Carolina. What does this do? And then this has the potential to turn into a huge system. I think we just need to stay tuned with this. But you're probably not going to get a big event early this week from the system moving up, but you got to watch later this week into early next weekend. This has the potential to be a huge system before the pattern relaxes. And it does show snow all the way to northeast North Carolina. So this is something to watch for sure. So your opinion on what this shows, not nearly as aggressive. It's much warmer for the south. In fact, it doesn't even bring anything into Arkansas really. Just kind of a light wintry mix in northern Tennessee and getting into Kentucky. Turns into a nice wintry event for like West Virginia. Just light to moderate snow across the Midwest and Ohio Valley again into Friday morning. And then here we go. We got to watch this winter storm threat right in here. Solid northwest flow into the mountains of, pretty much all of the Appalachian Mountains. And then we got to watch a low development. And then it's done. The signal for this is there. Now, this is in 24-hour increments. There it is. Gets kind of high in the Ohio Valley. And then into southern New England, there's that signal. Not very high, but it's there. And you can see where another low really tries to deepen here as this trough really digs down to this region. So that's all I got. Enjoy the snow today if you see it before we make a video this evening. And, God bless all y'all. Have a fantastic Sunday.